Johnson with Intention to Balance, a healthcare company that specializes in essential oils. And welcome to Holistic Lifestyles, where we are teaching people how to really deal with any health concerns that they have naturally. And today I'm really excited for our guest. She is founder of Soaring Heart Ministries, and this is Lynn Koll. Welcome.
Thank you.
Lynn and I met through Awesome Women many years ago, and she is a multi-talented woman and here to tell us about a lot of passions and things. And I actually had to write them all down because of all the things talents that you're good at. She's an ordained minister, workshop leader, a life coach, energy healing practitioner, and a women's circle facilitators. And she's also the owner of the Pine Stone Lodge. And today we're also going to touch on ALS, which has plagued her family a bit. So we want to talk about that. So before I jump in, anything else you want to share, Lynn?
I'm just happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me to be on your show. I love holistic living. This is where we're headed. I think it's a part of our future.
I love it. I love it. And so you have all these passions and talents, but you had to set them aside a little bit for a few years. So would love to, for you to share more about that journey.
Sure. Well, my father had ALS, and he passed away 30 years ago. And we didn't realize the family inherited predisposition for ALS until then my sister got it, and she passed away from it about 12 years ago. And then just 2 years ago, my other sister and my brother also had ALS. And ALS is a autoimmune disease. It weakens the nerves and it affects the immune system, and you basically become imprisoned in your body. It's a really cruel disease. And so I spent time with Jan and Kevin while they were going through these at the same time. Jan also had dementia that showed up with it, which is part of that C9 gene in the familial. Now, familial is only in the 10% of the cases. Most ALS is sporadic, and it can show up without being in the family system. We've also then discovered my father's first cousins, uncles, so it is part of the whole family system.
Well, and we met earlier, and what was really interesting to me, and something I really want to share with the community too, is how family members dealt with it differently. And good or bad, many times they were just told how long they basically had.
Right.
But your brother, Kevin, specifically chose not to accept that. So if you want to share more about his journey and what he did.
Sure. My older sister was pretty textbook case, and they said this would happen, and it happened, and they gave her 2 to 4 years, and she lasted about 3 years. And Kevin was given his 2.5 years, and he said, I'm not going to believe that. And he went and he researched and he listened to people who had ALS who were, slowing their progression. So he decided to write a book about his journey, because he said, I'm going to be the one to make the changes. And if there is someone that can cure or reverse this, I might be the one. So he went about doing all kinds of many different holistic therapies, alternative. The doctors didn't have hope for him. So he decided to change his lifestyle. He changed his whole eating habits, got really clean on his body, was doing some energy healing, massage. He did a lot of essential oils. And so he really taught me a lot about all that. So I kind of followed that path of where he took on the whole holistic living, and it's made a difference.
I love it. And so he ended up living, what did you say, 7 years? So much longer.
Right, 7 years.
They had predicted.
And he felt if he had known some of those things even earlier, he might have been one of those reversal cases.
Right. Yeah. And that's what because I know there's a few people who have lived on with it. And I'm all about the proactive approach.
Yes.
For sure, as you are.
Yes.
And so on your health journey, you said you didn't get tested, so you don't know yet.
Right.
Basically, if
Right.
you have
And
the
I
gene.
think there is part of that mind in the whole holistic approach of mind, body, spirit. And I choose not to get tested, knowing that I have a very good chance, I have a predisposition. But part of what Kevin taught me is watching Bruce Lipton. You know, he was all about the biology of belief and about the whole work of epigenetics. And epigenetics is a big body of work that is, you can turn your genes off and on. So we have SNPs, which is single nucleotide polymorphisms, and you can inherit some of those genetics and those even emotions or even addictions. But it's up to you on whether you can turn those genes off or on. So I decided I'm going to keep that gene turned off if I even have it, and you know, doing all kinds of things to just be preventative, and not only because of this predisposition, but because I feel better.
Right.
It's just about the quality of life. If I eat better, I feel better.
Right.
I started to make note of how I was feeling after I ate certain things, or if my body became inflamed, or you know, so it was a good way to just pay attention to the signals that our body is always telling us.
So is that how you turn your cells off and on, is by food choices or things like that, or
Yeah.
is it more mind? It's
all of that. In the mind, you know, I must say I do have little panics. Sometimes I get those tingles, the numbness, those feelings in my extremities, and go, oh no, could this be something coming on? But then I work with my mind. I go into meditative state. I use affirmations. I am well. I am healthy. I am vibrant. You just have to soak in and really believe that in your consciousness.
I love that.
So yeah, and then it's everything from chemicals in our household, it's to your personal care products, what you put on your body in the shower and makeup. You know, all of that is considered holistic or alternative because we don't hear about it as much as, you know, we should be and what our body is craving for.
Yeah. And the Pinestone Lodge, what is the purpose that with that?
Yes, well, Pinestone Lodge is actually something that Kevin built, and he had it all.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he built Pinestone Lodge before he was even diagnosed with ALS, and he wanted it to be a place to get connected to nature, to get out of the stress of everyday life, and to be connected to other people. So it's became a haven in nature, 145 acres, and it's in Sandstone, just north of the Twin Cities. And we've had several retreats there. People come for all kinds of gatherings and family reunions, weddings. We've had women's groups, hunter groups, all kinds of things. So it's nice that it's something that Kevin really felt accomplished, that he was able to create and make use for people.
Fun. And so, you know, now that you've gone through a lot of that, where's your journey heading?
Good question. I'm kind of in that mode of looking at what it is mine to do. I did, most of my life work for earning a living has been with accounting consulting. I work with several small businesses and help with their bookkeeping and marketing and different business decisions with their small businesses. But I'm ready to move more into away from that left brain into more of my right brain passions. You know, I'm an ordained minister, so I've done weddings and funerals. I also do some life coaching with birth analysis reports and let people see what the cosmos have in store for them in this lifetime. And then I'm doing, getting back into my DNA energy healing work. And I feel like it's something that has been affecting me as I learn about DNA. We're all hearing about DNA, sending our DNA off. And we haven't, there's that part that they say is junk DNA. And really that junk DNA is very valuable. And it's very much a part of who we are because we can inherit fears from ancestors up to 7 lines above us. So it's really interesting work.
Well, and I love that you mentioned that, you know, you had an accounting background too, because I think so many people put holistic people in a box and think we're, we're weird or
Right.
different, or we don't have normal jobs and things.
Yeah.
It's just a lifestyle that we choose.
Right.
And like you said, I choose not to eat dairy because it doesn't make me feel good when I eat it, and I've never had a sinus infection again since I quit dairy. You know,
Right.
things like that
Right.
are really interesting. So how do you determine, like I know I did Ancestry.com to get my raw data for my DNA. Is that how you help people get to that point? Or
We don't even, part of my work isn't even swabbing for DNA. That's a physical, different part that science and spirituality are starting to bridge now. But when I do it, I go into your theta wave connection with your higher self, communicating with my higher self. And we use numerical mapping. So it's all mapped out with numbers associated with organs and with life force energies, chakras. And it goes all the way back to, is part of a physical manifestation or an emotion, is that coming from your childhood in this life, or is it coming from an ancestor that was carried down to you, or a previous life if you believe in that?
so do you have to, you're a bit intuitive to do that for sure, because not everybody I think could be capable of doing it, but that's really exciting. I didn't know that
Yeah.
that's how it all played out, because I
Yeah.
haven't experienced it yet, I'll say.
Yes.
Because that's
Yeah.
something will for sure, and I know we're definitely both in agreement, you know, into gut health, and is that kind of, will you be adding things like that as you
Yes,
teach
I'm
people?
exploring the functional nutrition. It's there's a whole body of work now out with functional medicine, and I think that is one alternative, and it's also bridging with the medical community. But functional medicine deals a lot with autoimmune diseases, and it really gets to the root cause. So whereas the medical will kind of like, what is your symptom, and let's Band-Aid over that. But functional gets more into what is the root cause. And their theory would be the 3 branches, which is genes, inflammation, and digestion. So yeah, the gut is huge, and it's what we eat. And more importantly, it's how our body is set up to process what we eat. So we have different methylation pathways, different detox pathways that can open and close. And so if we have an open pathway, for instance, methylation is an issue that is going on in my family, so we don't detoxify very well. And so some people that can eat chemicals or eat all kinds of things, it doesn't seem to affect them. If you have closed pathways with the methylation, it affects us more.
I love that, because so many people have tried to figure that out. It's like, you know, why can he eat and drink whatever he wants and never get sick, and I
Right.
just have one little thing?
Exactly.
So that's really interesting.
And the ability to sweat. So long ago, I didn't sweat. Even if I would be running miles, I would not crack a sweat. And it would just make me see birds and get lightheaded. And now with the work I've done to open pathways, I can sweat, and it's a good thing. We need to sweat.
Right. And even, you know, today such a big concern is mental health issues. And I know the methylation plays a part in that for some people. So for people to understand that that's the issue and be able to actually get help for it is so exciting.
Yes.
That that's where we're going.
Right. Many autism children have methylation pathway deficiencies.
So are you going to be able to help people turn things like that around? Is that?
That's the hope. Yeah. It's you know, creating that awareness and being able to really listen to our body. And then there is some lab work and some testing that can be done to determine those. And then it's like, what do you do with those tests that you get for results? And putting it into plans on what they can do for supplements, what can be done for various foods, what foods to avoid. And I think what's important is to get recipes. You know,
Right.
we have these ideas of what to eat and not, but how do you put it together into a plan?
Well, I think you're going to figure that out.
I'll be figuring that out. It's part of my work right now, and I think going through what I have with my family has given me an impetus to move forward as to finding my passion. You know, to be a passion that this does not have to affect me, even though it's been affecting 4 out of my 6 siblings,
Yes.
you know, in with this ALS, and to know what I can do to overcome that and help others, because it's growing. The growing of autoimmune diseases. It's the medical doctors are they don't know. Most autoimmunes, even like Parkinson's, Hashimoto's, or chronic fatigue, they don't really know how they got it or really how to cure it.
Right.
But we're unlocking a lot of answers.
And I love that you talk about functional medicine, because I am all about that. And you know, even the company that I work with, doTERRA, they are also bringing those two together.
Right.
And it's just so exciting the direction we are going, because there's just so many people that need help. And I mean, there's whole other issues about all the social media things, and and you know, I was just at a convention and we were talking about, you know, shutting off for one day. Like, could people actually like shut off their TV, cell phones, you know, disconnect from the world for one day? How that might mentally help them? Do you feel like that's an issue, all this?
Sure, I think it's not only the technology and the EMF waves, but it's the constant propaganda that we're being put in our face, whether we like it or not. So there is some separation that has been created, whether it's real or not, but there's a propaganda to kind of keep us separated. And you know, if we come and get united and to know that we have so much more, that we are all the same than we are different. I think I wrote in my article one of the stories about, or a quote by Einstein about the way how you view the world as being a friendly place.
Right.
So.
And I didn't even mention that you were published in Edge just this month.
Yes.
And the title is The Death as a Catalyst to Living Life on Purpose, Life of Purpose.
Exactly.
And that's all based on what your journey that you went through.
Yeah.
Right?
Witnessing the death of the family members, and having an interest in sitting with people kind of at end of life. So I've explored some of that, some of the death doula, just interested in that whole process and the beauty of it all.
Right. And that's, you know, that's a whole nother topic about people not being afraid of dying, because I've had that experience in the last couple of years with some people passing, and it is very peaceful. And I have a couple of friends who be happy to connect you with that do that and really desire it and enjoy it, and work at some hospice communities and things like that, because it's just a special way I think we could help people appreciate that time.
And it is by going through death is where I get more passionate about life. You know, doing the things that we want to do, spend time with our loved ones, go on adventures, travel, you know, make the most of each day, get up and train our mind to believe in the beauty of life and the beauty of each day, and being joyful, making someone's day. You know, there's just so many things. Get out in nature.
Right.
So many things that we can do, and tools to keep our elevation high. Because we are energetic beings, and as an energy body, we vibrate at a certain frequency. There's machines that can measure your hertz. And, you know, what we say to ourselves affects our frequency. The water, the food, the air, all those things can affect our frequency. But if we're at a higher elevation, we're in those higher vibrations of love and joy and peace, then we can overcome a lot of those things that are told that are going to make us unhealthy.
Right. And I mentioned this morning, I was listening to Hal Elrod, who wrote the Morning Miracle. He said our life purpose is love.
Yes.
Like if they even, I mean, there's that study that was done with people saying love to the water, and it actually clearing up when it was all full of things. And like, I talk to my flowers all the time, and I swear my plants grow so big because I love my plants, you know. My daughter used to think I was a little crazy, but I think she gets it because my plants are all thriving, and I even
Yeah.
try to get up in the morning and do all that. Do you do meditation and things like that?
I'm working on that importance of the morning ritual. I know that that's a big part of our day, and to get up that even 20 minutes earlier, do some meditation, get the body circulating, some yoga movements, and deep breathing. There's a
Yes.
technique that I use where it's like breathing in the diaphragm for 3, where you actually see your diaphragm, and then 3 into your lung, so your chest rises for 3, and then exhale for 6.
Oh, and you do that all in one breath, or
It's an in-breath. Yeah,
So you're going 3, 3, and then out for
and
6?
out for 6,
Oh,
yes.
and you do that just a few times?
Yep, just to clear the night, get ready for the day, set my intentions, try to envision what I want for the day.
Yeah.
Envision the emotion I want to feel. So you start by feeling joyful, putting on that smile, and the universe just conspires to open the doors to make you feel those emotions that you intend to feel.
Right. It's true, because when I do that, I practice that in the morning too. I have a morning ritual, and I'll even laying in bed, I'll think about how I envision the way I want my day to look.
Yes.
But when I do that, all the lights are green. I swear, traffic, I just
Yeah.
float through it. But if something gets in the way and I don't have that, or I take a phone call or whatever it is, or get on social media and see something that I don't agree with or whatever, it's just funny. Then all the red lights show up, and
Yeah.
it's just so interesting, isn't it?
There is a flow to our life, and we really are getting to a point where we need to be careful what we're thinking because it manifests like that.
Right.
So the cleaning out our thoughts is also just a whole detox process, which is what the breath work really does to help clear the mind from all that chatter. We have so much in the past that we hone in on or worry about, and then there's so many things about the future to just be worried about.
Right.
But if we stay in that present moment, get into that womb space, get into that heart, and the day just opens up for you.
And worry gets you nowhere. It doesn't
Exactly.
serve any purpose but create more cortisol, and then
Right.
make you more stressed out. And
Mm-hmm.
I always, people would always say to me, I eat healthy, I do all this, I'm so healthy, but then someone still gets sick. And I said, well, stress to me
Yes.
is the one thing that throws that all out. If you are really stressed, you can get sick too. Your cells know.
Exactly. They listen to that stress, and stress triggers inflammation. It's being in that fight, flight, or freeze mode.
Right.
So the vagus nerve is what attaches the brain to the gut. So that connection with the vagus nerve, which runs through our backbone, and we can have any little thing to put us in fight, flight, or freeze. And the key is to be into that place of rest and digest, because that's what will regulate the serotonin, the melatonin, all those hormones in our body. So it's interesting body of work too,
Right.
to look at how stress is such a big cause of most of the diseases. It's the trigger. You might have that disease already, but when you get triggered by something or something stressful, that's where the onset can really happen.
And people really don't appreciate or understand the value of a good night's rest, of sleep.
Right.
We need sleep to rejuvenate our body for the
Yes.
next day. Otherwise, it's like we expect too much, People go, go, go. And I know they did this study, they're doing this study with some young men in, I think it's Japan, and how early they're passing on because of stress.
Yeah.
They're in this 24-hour, 24/7 sometimes go mode, and
Right.
it's like we need to chill and breathe. And I like that simple. Your breath work is so simple. I've done a lot of breath work in different, with different people, and I really like that.
Yeah.
'Cause even in a car, right?
Oh,
to do that
absolutely.
if there's rush hour traffic, or instead of everybody, it just seems like our traffic has gotten so crazy. If people could just chill. I have a diffuser in my car now, so I just turn that on. Diffuse some good oils and
Exactly.
hopefully chill. But something you wrote in your article I really liked. Well, I liked the whole thing, but you can go to the Edge article and read the whole thing, but it says, being part of my particular family and transforming the cycle of disease within every cell is a part of my life purpose. Whatever becomes my destiny is all part of my fate and free will. And so far, I am loving the opportunity to learn, experience, and share. Witnessing death and experiencing grief in my life and world provided the greatest catalyst for my life purpose, which is to open my heart to the greatest expression of giving and receiving love. That's just so beautiful. Because that's so many people, no one likes to see someone pass away, for sure. And
Right.
and you lived beyond your siblings and father's age, correct?
My father was 62, but my one brother and sister were both age 55, and I will be turning 56 in 2 months.
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, you look amazing.
Well, thank you.
So, that has a lot to do too with taking care of yourself and feeling good.
Yes.
Some people don't, believe our age, and it's like,
Right.
why would I say I'm older than I am?
Exactly. And yeah, death, there's nothing that brings out love more than death. It's a grieving thing, but we grieve so much because we love so much. So why would we not feel that deep part of love that goes along with grief?
That's so interesting that you say that too, because on that podcast I listened to this morning, that's what he said. We never have as much love as when that baby is born, and you just can't even fathom what that's like. And then when someone's passing, you have that love. It's like, why don't we have that all the time in between?
Right.
Right?
And that's what our purpose is. That's what we're here to do.
I know. So we'll have to keep spreading that, and
Yes.
and as you go forward now and figure out your next steps and journey, I'm excited to see how all that's going to look. But I think even talking about it, you can always tell when someone is really passionate about something,
Yes.
the way they talk about it, and I think you're going to do great things. And
Yeah, thank you. It's I know part of my work is to go into some of that healing work with the DNA and trauma, and also where I met you through Awesome Women. I think that's where we really had the chance to practice love, because it was speaking from our heart, and it taught us to get deeper into what our soul really wanted and to really be authentic. So that is part of my future too. So I will be definitely getting more women together, beginning to express who we are and to shine our light more into the world.
love that. And if people want to get in touch with you, it's lynnkoll.com.
Yes, lynnkoll.com.
That's the best place to reach you. And then seeing your article at the Edge, in the Edge magazine, they can see that.
Yeah.
Or all of us, I think, are just going to continue to form groups, whether it's meetups or
Right.
on Facebook. Or
We're all finding each other.
we're all finding each other, I know.
Exactly.
So if you're a light out there, and if you just feel like this resonates with you, just follow it and go with it, because the more that we can create this love in the world and peace and joy and just breathing and feeling good.
Exactly, and just really tuning into your heart and what feels right for you.
I love
Your
it.
intuition is all you need.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Oh,
This has been
thank
so much
you.
fun. I know we could kind of talk forever, but that's what I love.
Yes.
So
Thank you
it's a
for
blessing.
having me on the show.
Oh, so
It's
welcome.
wonderful.
Blessing. Thank you.